He moves like a ghost through the quiet Croatian arena, a ghost with the genes of genius. Look at his eyes. Could it be? Watch his shot. Is it possible? He was, after all, just 2 when his legendary uncle Drazen Petrovic died in 1993. And yet there is so much about Marko that gives us pause. But while the eyes, the shot, the simple gait are inheritances passed along, it is the door that the uncle opened to the NBA, not simply for Marko, but for every European basketball star, which is the lasting legacy. Where does one start with the story of Drazen Petrovic? Basketball, all across Europe, was a much different game then than it is now, and the players were often looked at by NBA scouts with derision, if they were looked at all.
Well, I was like everyone else in the league. I was suspect. There were not many foreign players, and we thought of them as very mechanical, good shooters. We truthfully didn't know a lot about them.
Suddenly upon the scene blazed this flying young Croatian who could do things that left his thunderous audiences wild with astonishment. He was quickly nicknamed Amadeus, for he seemed to play with the virtuosity of a Mozart. His older brother Alexander, Marko's father, was an established club star and was there when the 20-year-old kid made a debut with Sabona in the capital city of Zagreb, which will live forever. The night he scored 112 points.
Drazen's debut here at this old stadium with Sabona was pretty special, huh?
Yeah, it was an amazing night. Drazen broke that record 3 minutes in the second half. He scored 75th point. And it was, it was a lot of amazing things in that game.
Bottom line, he had 112.
Yes.
40 for 60?
From the field.
And 22 for 22 from the line?
Free throws.
And 10 for 20. How come he was so bad from three-point line?
And it was only the beginning. European championships, European cups, Olympic medals would follow swiftly. But soon, hearing the siren song from across the Atlantic, Drazen would test himself against the world's best players. After being drafted by Portland, he became one of the first truly international players to come to the NBA.
When he was drafted, he was definitely 100% sure that he will be one of the best players over there. It was really unbelievable how big ambitious and how big will he had.
But now the problem is you play together with in that moment the best backcourt, Terry Porter and Clyde Drexler, because they were in a best moment of their career. And in that moment, Drazen realized that he can play through regarding the practices against them, and he forced the agent, he forced the team that make a trade.
In January of 1991, the deal was made to New Jersey, and it was there where he began to rediscover the game that had made him the top European player. Nowhere was that, or he, more evident than in the 1992 Olympics, where he led the Croatian national team against the fabled American Dream Team.
When we went back to the village, he came to me and he said, we're going to beat them tomorrow. But he was serious. Next day, we start first quarter. I think we were 1 point up, 24 or 25, 24, something like that. And he came to me and he said, you remember what I said last night? I said yes, but we have to play another 3 quarters.
In the Olympics, he definitely wanted to prove something. You could very well tell that he was adamant about proving that he was good enough to play with anybody in the world.
Those few weeks in Barcelona was a springboard for Drazen Petrovic. He followed it with a breakout season with the Nets and became the very first international player ever to be named to an all-NBA team.
He was innately very competitive, and we'd get down the stretch in a tough game, he would make shots. I do remember specifically a lot of late games where he would make very tough long-range shots, and I was not afraid to go to him.
While he was making his fame and his fortune on one side of the Atlantic, his heart remained in Croatia. And in the end, it spelled his untimely demise. After leading his home country in a European Cup qualifying tournament in Poland, he was en route to Munich when the car in which he was a passenger spun out of control on a rain-slicked Autobahn. He died instantly, one lone solitary bruise on his forehead where it hit the windshield. He was just 28, and an entire country cried as one. In the weeks and the months, indeed in the years following the tragic death of Drazen Petrovic, a desperate, war-weary people of Croatia tried to find a way to honor their fallen hero. Now this coming summer, on the 13th anniversary of his accident, they will rededicate and indeed repaint this square in downtown Zagreb in the honor of the young man who did so very much not only for basketball in this country, but for the people themselves. There remains a cafe that belonged to Drazen at the foot of the steps. To the right of the arena will be a museum filled with much of what overwhelms his old apartment in Zagreb, where his parents have lived since his death.
To je neopisivo. Zapravo mene su ti trofeji, fotografije izvukli na jedan način jer sam ja razmišljala o njemu kao da ga čekam, da je tu negdje i mislim da mi je to puno pomoglo i posjet groblju. Ja vidim u Marku Dražena i to me još više drži nekako, ne znam, vidim da će, kao da sam ga ja rodila, ne znam, kao da je to treće moje dijete, evo.
He has the same style of walking, same style as Drazen was 14, same style making, you know, fakes and everything. When I look on Marko, I always in that moment, you know, flash on, even on Drazen.
And so the young ghost of Drazen Petrovic works hard into the afternoon. A Croat by birth, a citizen of a much smaller Earth now. A planet with bridges built in part by the man who gave him his eyes and the sight of his dreams.
Wait.